Welcome back to Astrology, Angels, and More. I'm your host, Mary Silvernail, and tonight we have a very, very interesting show. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, including quantum healing, quantum hypnosis, very interesting show, and different forms of energy healing, all different forms. But before that, and before I introduce our wonderful guest tonight, I'd like to go over what's coming up in this month of July. We're already into the 9th day. So today is July 9th, 2025. And first of all, I'd like to wish all you wonderful Cancerians out there a very happy, happy birthday. And also, we just celebrated the birthday of the United States. Next year, the 4th of July, we'll be celebrating 250 years. The 250th birthday of the United States of America. Now, Cancerians, Cancer is the 4th sign of the zodiac, with the moon as its ruling planet. That's why Cancerians are sometimes can be a little bit moody, but they also have wonderful psychic abilities. They're very deep, and they love the water. But silver is the color associated with Cancer, maybe because of the silver moon. Cancerians are very sympathetic, nurturing, maternal, and very emotional people. Cancerians love their homes and value family traditions. Their gemstones, lucky gemstones for you, Cancer, are moonstone, of course, pearl, and clear quartz. Now, at times, I wanted to make a note about this here to our audience. At times this month, we will have four planets retrograde. Now, July the 4th, which has already passed, through December the 10th of this year, the planet Neptune will be retrograde in Aries. So that planet is already retrograde, and it creates a temporary loss of inspiration, creating temporary indecisiveness. But another note, Neptune will return to Pisces for a very brief stay, October the 22nd. Now, on July the 10th, which is tomorrow, and we're already feeling the effects of this beautiful full moon. Capricorn full buck moon. It's the buck moon, and it's the Capricorn full moon, bringing more balance to areas of our lives. We're needed, especially we're needed, and reminding us to keep our commitments to others. Practical epiphanies can actually occur now, bringing more rewards, especially in business. You know, Capricorns are all about business, very hardworking people. The Capricorn moon also has everything to do with strong leadership, which is desperately needed due to the current world events. So worldwide, this is how this full moon tomorrow will be affecting the world events. Now, July the 13th, Saturn will go retrograde in Aries. And that's through November 27th. It'll stay retrograde through November 27th, prompting us to review and reassess responsibilities and commitments. Saturn will return to Pisces for a very brief stay during this retrograde period. July 18th through August the 11th. Mercury will be retrograde in Leo, prompting another review, this time in a very creative way. Very interesting. giving way to looking at things and even people in new ways, allowing, though, your creativity to flow. Now, a lot of people would think that's unusual with Mercury retrograde, but not with the aspects of it. A lot of creativity this month. July 22nd, the sun enters Leo. Time for fun, love, and play. And Leo is the most creative sign of all. July 24th, 2 days later, we have the Leo new moon, bringing new life to creative or romantic goals. This is a time of self-expression and definitely romance for sure. Allow yourself to move out of your comfort zone, to experience all that life has to offer, especially in love. This will be a time of great insight. Now, July the 30th through January the 2nd, 2026, Chiron will be retrograde in Aries, and it's time to look within for mental and physical healings to uncover truths not previously ascertained. And what we're going to be talking about tonight with the type of healing we're going to be talking about tonight, both physically, spiritually, emotionally, this really fits in during that retrograde period. Okay, so let's see now. Each individual sign. Aries, your hard work pays off now, and it's time to relax and enjoy the summer months of fun. Accept those invitations. Taurus, a revamp of a creative project that has been sitting on the shelf is just the ticket needed. Allow your artistic and creative side to emerge. Gemini, practicality is your focus this month. Getting everything in order will give you the opportunity to relax and enjoy life with so many invites to choose from. And here we go again for Cancer. Happy birthday, Cancer. It's your month to shine. Focus on new sources of extra income. Time to look at things in a different way than ever before. Leo, release what is no longer helping you grow and is only holding you back. You feel alive, driven, and totally unstoppable. It's time to move forward now, Leo. Love is in your stars. Virgo, it's time to pursue a personal aspiration you have had for a long, long time. Love changes coming your way this summer, especially. Libra, beautiful Libra. Opportunity may arise in your career in an unusual and unexpected way. Be open to new avenues of creativity. Scorpio, enjoy this summer of travel and new adventures. A deep emotional bond is in your stars. Love is yours. Enjoy. Sagittarius, okay, Sag, adventure awaits. Stop second-guessing yourself. Take some chances. They pay off handsomely. Capricorn, creative projects get new life. Someone comes into your life at this time that can literally turn your life completely around. Aquarius, accept those invitations and get out and enjoy life. Be open to love and romance. Don't allow any previous disappointments discourage opening your heart to someone new. Pisces, research new ways of bringing even a greater sense of balance into your life. You will feel more connected, fulfilled, and productive in your life. Opportunities just abound. So, now with everything, all the troubles that have been happening in the world and a lot of disappointments, sadness, things like that we're dealing with. However, this month, the way the stars are shining, find creative ways to enjoy life. Find ways in order to experience new things in your life that you never tried before. Open your heart, open your mind, and you're going to feel so much better. And as you know how much I adore the angels and talk about the angels so much, Archangel Gadiel, if you have never heard of Archangel Gadiel, Gadiel, just look that angel up, because that particular angel, say you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, oh, another day, I just don't feel like even getting out of bed. Or if from hearing the news on the radio or the TV that it just makes you feel sad in some way, get a good connection with Archangel Gadiel. Gadiel will give you such a wonderful pickup and bring joy into your life and give you a whole new perspective. And that's really what this month is about. Brand new opportunities, brand new ways of looking at things, inspiration. So now I'd like to introduce our guest tonight, Alena Sharma. Alena, come on. There we go. Okay, Alena, welcome. Welcome to Astrology, Angels, and More. This is your first time appearing on Astrology, Angels, and More.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. You're a lovely lady. Okay.
Thank you.
So, why don't you tell the audience what you do?
Hi, my name is Alena Sharma. Alena is okay. I'm a holistic healing practitioner. I do QHHT, therapeutic art, energy healing, and I'm an artist as well.
Beautiful artist. Wonderful artist.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have your drawing in my office right by my desk. Beautiful. Yes. And you're coming on Spiritual Journey TV next week, and you're going to be talking about your art too. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the type of healings that you do and the holistic healing? You do so much.
As I guess as you are and many others, I do kind of like a combination of different things. It's Reiki and hands of light and a little bit of Indian as well. But what it is right now, it's kind of like an intuitive level. So combining all of this knowledge from different modalities of energy healing and just using the connection to guidance system, to source, and just channel that energy through myself.
When you say Indian, you're not referring to Native American Indian, are you?
Native American, but a little bit. But
oh, really? Okay. I'm surprised we didn't talk about that before. Okay.
It's not so much that I do that in particular, but I did study that a little bit.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. Do you do the North American or South American?
Again, it's right now it's more like intuitive, whatever comes. But that's like some of the background. Mostly like I did Reiki, and I really love the hands of light.
Tell me about hands of light healing. I'd like to understand that. I'm sure our audience would too.
I think in general, with any of the energy healing, it's just always has connection with God, with Source, and you always kind of like channel that that energy, that connection through yourself. It's not so much that we do as a healers, right? We're kind of like opening up to that source energy and that allow that energy of the client, of the customer, right, kind of like work together and have healing and giving some information.
So what happens in a session when someone comes in to see you that has a problem?
if we're talking about the energy healing, and I also have another modality. It's I call it self-empowering healing. This one is a little different. So the energy healing is kind of like hands-on, and it could be touching the body, it could be off the body. And again, it's all like intuitively. It's not necessarily following one particular way of doing it.
Yes.
And self-empowerment is a little different. It's more like a kind of like a conversation style in a way, where I engage the person who come to me, and we work on it together. It could be through meditation, it could be just through talking, it could be through images and some kind of exercises. But the whole point is bring that power back to the person.
Yes.
Because when we're involved, I mean, even with energy healing, again, even though it's kind of like a source energy, it's the energy of that person as well. But with the self-empowerment, is the person is consciously involved, so it's a little different.
Consciously involved.
Yes.
So not when, now you do QHHT
As well,
healing
yes.
hypnosis, right?
Correct.
Hypnosis heal.
Right.
Okay. So that's utilizing hypnosis, a particular type
Correct.
of hypnosis.
Right.
Right.
So,
Okay. Why don't you explain that?
Right. QHHT stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. It was developed by Dolores Cannon decades ago. It's all started with her husband, who was just a regular hypnotist, and then she discovered so much more through the sessions, that they connected to something that was not known at that time. So she developed a technique that she later called QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. The whole idea of that is connecting to that greater part of a person that is beyond physical, that is always connects to Source, to God. It has all the knowledge, and through this session, it is a hypnosis. It provides that part of it, and Dolores used to call it subconscious, but in psychology, I think it's a little different. So nowadays, people call it higher self, oversoul, superconscious. When you connect to it, that part gives you information. It knows everything, right?
Well,
it's a source.
There's different levels of consciousness, because there's the conscious mind.
Correct.
There's the subconscious mind. Then there's the superconscious, right, which is really the oversoul. And so especially and I know you do past life regression, right? Okay,
So
with the QHHT?
Right.
Yeah.
So QHHT, sometimes known as a past life regression. I know in terms of the terms, how it's called, it could be different. But for the longest time, Dolores Cannon's QHHT was known as a past life regression. But I think this is so much more in a sense, because it's not necessarily just past life.
No.
It could be anything. There is no real time. I know we live in this world, and there's a linear time. But in the session with Dolores Cannon and with others and with me, I had practitioners, Dolores Cannon and me as well. We had different sessions where people not just seeing the past lives, but also other existences. It could be maybe future from our standpoint,
Right.
or it could be parallel life. So it's sort of like a past life regression, but not necessarily.
Right, because in a past life regression, I know myself, that's one of the specialties that I do, is past life regression for many years. But with a past life regression, really you are not connecting with the subconscious mind. You are going to the superconsciousness, because when I'm doing and I'm sure this is true with you too, see, that's what I really enjoy, the way that Dolores Cannon describes it and using the term quantum, because when, say, somebody comes to see me to stop smoking, because I'm a clinical hypnotherapist,
Right.
and what I do is I'm really dealing with their subconscious mind, or another issue. Now, when you're dealing with a phobia, okay, for example, it could be in the subconscious mind, or it could be in the superconscious, which is quantum, literally, because then you're going over and above, which could have originated in a previous lifetime.
Correct.
And you get a good understanding by going to that super consciousness. You get a really good understanding, a much better understanding. Because I find that through past life regression or by utilizing the quantum type of hypnotherapy, that the person can actually, it's more than just going into the subconscious mind that can give you the information, but once you go to the super consciousness, you can completely eliminate it. And that's what I love, okay? So that's what I love about what you do. That's what I love about what you do. So did I describe that properly? I mean, is that kind of like...
I think so. The only thing is like giving you names, and maybe it's not necessarily that important.
It isn't. It isn't. That's why, to me, that's the super consciousness, okay? But then there's the name QHHT, but isn't QHHT really the super consciousness that she tapped into that more so than the subconscious mind that probably her husband was more working with the subconscious mind? I mean, please tell me.
Right. So the QHHT is a quantum healing hypnosis technique. Right. That's what she called it.
Right.
Her husband was like a regular hypnotist at that time, right? Doing things like addictions and stuff like that.
Right.
What she discovered, it was so much more.
Yes.
So she called it at that time subconscious, I guess, because that's how it was,
that was
acceptable and terminology.
Right.
Later on, she realized that it's not what it is.
So much more.
Yes, it's definitely beyond the conscious.
Yes.
So that's why she called it subconscious. But nowadays, like I prefer, and many practitioners call it higher self.
Higher self, which is the superconscious.
It's a superconscious.
Right. It depends on what people call it.
Yes.
Oversoul, right. I mean, there's different terminologies. So for the audience, when they hear these different terminologies, it's literally the same thing. You're connecting with the universe.
Yes.
All information is there.
Correct. Right.
And the technique that you utilize that we're talking about here, whether you call it QHHT, superconsciousness, higher self, et cetera, it's connecting with the universe. You know, you and I were talking earlier in the beginning of the show of why in particular I chose that background that we have here, okay? And so I wanted to... I was looking for a background that had a spiral because that has to do with hypnosis, but it's so much more than that because you're connecting with all the universal intelligence that's there.
Correct.
And then when you sat down, you said, yeah, it's a portal.
For sure, I love
because
it. Yes. It's a spiral, it's a portal, it's a connection to source, it's our evolution.
Right. So when you say
more.
connection to source, so you are connecting with source, and what you're doing is you're literally, when you're in a healing, connecting with your higher self, and at the same time bringing that person, your client, connecting to their higher self. True?
Yes, so there are two different things, right? The energy healing just by itself is one thing. QHHT is a little different.
Right.
We always during the session, even with the QHHT, I do connect with my higher self, superconscious and source. With the QHHT, it's very interesting. It's the whole idea is to connect for the client, to connect with this, you can call it again, higher self.
Yes.
And a lot of times it's that greater part of the client will initiate that interest and like would be good kind of like putting that person onto the path to have this particular
Yes.
session. Oh, it's true actually for everything. But I am, as a practitioner, I'm leading the person, just helping that person to get into that state where
Yes.
he or she will connect to, let's call it higher self for ease of it. And then the higher self actually takes sort of like the rein and then leads the whole thing. So the client will have questions before, prepare all of the questions that they want to answer. And a lot of times, the client will go and see some kind of life. And I call it some kind of life, some kind of like existence. And why I say that, because again, it's not just a past life.
No.
And it's not necessarily human.
Could be on another planet.
Yes.
It could be in another dimension. It could be, exactly.
And that's
It's so cool.
It's exciting. It's amazing what people see.
Yes.
But there is always a connection with that existence, with that life that they see, that they experience. Not just see, they experience and they feel it. It's always connects to something what's happening to them. It's either for healing purposes, for some kind of information they need to know. There is always relates to what's happening to the person. And then after that, I have a direct conversation with that part of them, of
Right.
higher self,
That
where they
part.
answer the questions. First of all, they describe, okay, why did I show them this particular life? Because this, and that. And then also answers the questions so that the client prepares.
Right.
And I can give
But
you
it's
several
really their
options.
connection.
Yes.
Right.
So in this case, I'm kind of like a just facilitator. I'm just
Exactly.
help them to get into
Exactly.
that mode. Yeah.
Yes,
And it-
absolutely.
And it's since Dolores Cannon created this this technique decades ago, she has. It's literally miraculous healing sometimes. It's for physical healing, for mental, for emotional healing. It provides information. You can find your life's purpose. Basically, any questions that you have can be answered.
You know who Edgar Casey is, right?
Yes.
I'm sure you do. Okay. So Edgar Casey, I feel that he was doing that himself because, you agree? That's really what I have always believed.
I think so too. And, and another thing is with the QHHT, it's interesting. When Dolores Cannon started doing this, in the beginning, the hypnosis part, people did not remember. So they were unconscious in a way. They were talking, they were answering the questions, they were having a conversation with the practitioner. Later on, I mean, this particular part, the hypnosis part, is usually recorded, not usually, it is recorded.
It's what?
It's recorded.
Okay.
It's recorded and later on it's given to the client. So originally when Dolores Cannon started it, people do not remember. They did not remember. They were talking. They will hear themselves later on, and then it's like, oh my God. And
Well,
they
because they're
experience-
leaving, I don't want to see, a bit of astral flight is going on
Right,
there.
but what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say is, so before with the Dolores Cannon, it was always out. They were kind of like sleeping in a way. And that state is kind of like when you wake up naturally or when you go back to sleep.
Right, exactly.
But nowadays,
First level of
what's-
sleep, last level of sleep.
right, but now what's happening more and more, people are more aware during the hypnosis part, meaning that they know what's going on, they know what's happening. And I think why it's happening is because humanity is changing. We are changing. We are more aware of ourselves.
We're more evolved.
Yes. So that's why, and it's a natural state, like
Yes.
Edgar Casey, right? So it's connection to that source, to that higher self, to that part by ourselves.
I believe Nostradamus also. I really believe that's where all his information came from too. You know, I don't know how you feel about that.
Dolores Cannon actually have a book about him too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has like 19 or 20 books.
I have to tell you, my brother, he's in heaven, for several years now, and he loved Nostradamus. Oh my goodness, yeah, big fan. And but there you go. So very, very interesting. Too, I guess, I'm just going to say this. It also reminds me very much of like when I'm in a reading, okay? As far as doing any of my mediumship work or psychic work or anything. What happens to me is I'm in and out of my body. But this has been happening to me my whole life. It isn't like, I learned that. So, but all the information is there. And there it is. And literally, I believe that people are leaving their body a bit when they're in the QHHT. And they could still be able to come back and forth. What do you think about that?
I'm not really sure if necessarily leaving the body. It's kind of like stepping aside maybe and letting that other part coming. It could be described differently. I'm not really sure how to say it. That higher self, that part of it that we or the client connects to, it's basically them. It's us.
Oh, it is.
In a way,
absolutely.
Yes.
But if you leave your body even a couple of inches, and usually that's what happens, especially if you go into a deep meditation or if you are in that state, that alpha state, yeah, sure.
I guess you can say that. Yeah.
That's not to scare anybody.
I didn't
just
think
what
that
it is.
way,
It's
but
a little bit of astral flight going on. And so, that's absolutely for sure. I have to tell you, too, and I don't know if you find this, whenever you're also doing past life regression, because you do that, right?
it's kind of like part of the QHHT.
Right, it's part of it.
Yeah.
Right. I understand. But with the past life regression, whatever a person views in that previous life, and many times when I'm doing a past life regression, because I also bring people forward in time. We go through different timelines. It isn't just past life regression, because I do understand all that information is out there. My point is, though, whatever they see, once they see it, it's completely healed for them in this particular lifetime. The way that I like to view it and make logic out of it is once they see that, it's healed because they balanced their karma of that for this particular lifetime.
I think they acknowledge it's kind of like where it's coming from.
But it it literally balances. They don't have to deal with it anymore, and it's done when they have an understanding of it. But even if they don't have a complete understanding of it, when they see the origin, where it came from, whether it came from a lifetime on another planet, whether it came from wherever, or if they get to acknowledge it in another way, as you said, stepping aside and looking at the situation in a completely different light, whereas they would never have been able to do that before unless they connect with their higher self. True?
I think I'm kind of like lost. What's the real question? Well, let me say
how does it work? Okay, because I know how it works.
There are a few questions.
Okay,
let me just say.
But how does it work? This is the question. When a person experiences QHHT, okay, doesn't the healing happen because, as you used the word before, they acknowledge it, so they see it? So I think we're on the same page, just different terminology.
Right. I guess I had a lot of things going on while you were talking.
Go ahead.
To
That's
say.
Interesting.
So again, QHHT is it's not me who is driving them like to see a particular lifetime, right? It's always let's say their higher self. And yes, sometimes things that manifest at this life that we are living, right? due to something that happened in the other lifetime, the past life. And yes, when they can experience that, see it and acknowledge it, and like in certain times they don't need to hold on to this anymore.
Right.
And when they acknowledge it, yes, it disappears. It just
Disappears.
because they know
Totally
where it's coming
disappears,
from,
right? Yeah.
Because yes, sometimes I guess when people go to another body, reincarnate, I guess sometimes they carry that karma that they didn't work through. But a lot of times it's something that just we carry on without knowing it, even though it was resolved.
Without even realizing
Yes.
it. Especially anyone who experiences trauma.
Yes.
True?
Mm-hmm.
Because many times what will happen is when a person is in a traumatic experience, they will literally either block it out or
Usually that's what
step
happens.
aside, step out of their body, disassociate. This happens with a lot of trauma that has happened to children.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't even realize why they're carrying this, and they didn't even, because they block the memory of it.
Yes, they're kind of like not consciously aware of it, that
Right,
they did it. Yes.
right. And then once they can acknowledge it, dissipates because there's no reason anymore to carry it. But that can be something that happens in this lifetime or in another lifetime. Are we in agreement?
I think when it happens in this particular life, I think it's a little different. It doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't really, when you see it, what happened before, it's not necessarily automatically disappears. They have to acknowledge it. They have to kind of like see it from maybe from the time that they're in, what happened to them before.
Different perspective.
Right. It's not just seeing it and disappearing, it's also understanding what happened, confronting it, and then resolve a different way.
You could change the story. You know what I mean? You could literally change the story. When a person, I mean, what comes to mind is many years ago there was a client that was an adult and frightened of thunderstorms, frightened of storms. I mean, panic frightened. Even knew that a storm was coming. Okay. And bottom line, what it was is in this particular person's memory, they did not have the memory because they had blocked it out because trauma had happened during a thunderstorm that they didn't even remember. Okay.
So it was association of
Right.
happened.
And so then you just change the way, once they look at it, then you just change the whole way that they had reacted at the time, and so that they have a better understanding of it, that particular part of them, that particular, because, when you say part, because I do a lot of work with parts therapy and with hypnosis, and you could be working with a part that is of this lifetime or a part from another lifetime. Do you do that? I'm very interested in how this compares.
As a practitioner, I don't do it on purpose, but it happens sometimes when the person experiences not just one lifetime, but few. Dolores Cannon call it like life hopping. It's due to, again, I guess it's necessary for that person to know a few things from different lifetimes. Sometimes it's just they experience one particular lifetime, and then during the conversation with higher self, the higher self will mention something else for them to know. So yes, there is a connection sometimes that happens, like bringing up different lifetimes and existences.
Oh yeah, you can carry. I have to tell you, many years ago, I'm talking many years ago, and one of the reasons that I had even began to study, like 30 years ago, hypnotherapy, I had a wonderful hypnotherapist help me through issues myself, one of which was a phobia. I experienced many lifetimes with him, okay? And what had happened was that he guided me through. So I was carrying this phobia many, many lifetimes. So talk about life hopping. Oh, for sure, you know. But yeah, you can carry it and carry it and carry it and
Yes,
carry it
sometimes you
until you
can.
get to the origin. Look, I'm just really a true believer in getting to the origin, wherever that origin is, whether it was on Venus or it's in another timeline over there, or or if the origin is in this lifetime or whatever.
Right.
So bottom line isn't that's really what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Getting to the origin of it and having them look at it different, and that's bottom line. It's all it's the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's just a different technique. I also want to mention something about
Sure.
trauma.
Yes,
or
go right
different,
ahead.
Or
Please.
something like that. So obviously we come here to learn. We have lessons to learn. And a lot of times the trauma is the one actually, and that's maybe another topic, we're the ones who chose it, to go through this
my goodness,
lesson.
Yes, totally. I mean, we're all sitting up on a cloud before we're born, and we and we
Yes.
say, "Hey, you're gonna be my mother this time,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna, yeah, absolutely."
Obviously, we don't remember. There are some people who do, but most of the time we don't remember, and of course it's not easy especially when you're in it. So when during the QHHT session, or like maybe you do as a hypnotherapist, is when you go through trauma, it's the person understands when actually sees it from this point and from the higher point in a way. They will understand more, okay, there was a lesson, there was something there to learn from.
Absolutely.
It's
It's a sacred contract, to use the terminology of
Right.
Carolyn Myss. Carolyn Myss wrote a wonderful book, Sacred Contracts, and that's what it is. We all have sacred contracts that we carry into the new lifetime, and the whole thing is the ones that hurt us the most are the ones that actually loved us the most. So they
Yes.
stepped up and said, I'll be that part for you this time, so you can work it out in this lifetime. And
It's hard. It's hard to see it, right, and understand it.
Yeah, it is.
Accept
But let
it.
me tell you, I mean, that's really bottom line what it is. And, I have to tell you, I heard Dolores Cannon speaking about, like, when you see someone that just seems to have a charmed life, they don't have any troubles, they don't have any worries. Right? And then you wonder, well, where's all their karma? How come they didn't carry in all this stuff and everything? And one of the things that I had heard her say is that, well, maybe they're just, this is a resting lifetime. You don't know
Yes, I
what
heard
they
that.
were
She said
dealing
yes.
with, okay? Now, I thought that was so cute.
It is, but I think it's also not 100% true in the sense that
I know.
there's still some issues that we deal in every day, but maybe not as bad as the others. But yes.
Well, I can tell you as an astrologer, when a person there's different aspects to different planets in their astrology, in their natal chart, and when a person comes into this lifetime and they have all these beautiful trines in their stars, let me tell you, okay, they usually have a charmed life. But they had many other lifetimes that didn't have that. So the karma that they built up is this. However, everybody has something, because there's balance, there's yin, yang. Yeah. So anyway, what else would you like to add? And why don't you tell us a little bit more about, I really want to understand the energetic healings that you do.
If I may stay maybe on the QHHT
Go right
part
ahead.
a little bit
Go ahead.
more, because
Sure, that's
few
fine.
things that I want to say, I guess.
Go ahead.
And maybe give an example if we have time. I just want to make sure that people are not afraid and we're saying that somebody's coming or you're going out of the body. It's a normal process. It's kind of like for the person who's not familiar with the spirituality or any new names and stuff like that, terminology. It's all about how you, like when you pray, right? When you go to your heart.
That's right.
That's what you connect to source, you connect to God, however you call it. And that's what it is. Through QHHT or through healing, you connect like that. And it doesn't matter how you call it. It doesn't matter the process. The whole idea is you connecting to God, to source, which helps you
is the source of all information.
Right, and which helps you and heals you and provides you information and guides you. Yeah, so this is one thing that I wanted to say. And I would like to give maybe some examples, if you don't mind.
Sure, go right ahead. Sure.
It's amazing. Some of the sessions, actually, Dolores Cannon, she called it a potato digging life, which is not like anything special. However, even those lives that they see, there's something in there that they needed to see. And some of the lives, the extraordinary, the amazing people, not just being like in different century and being maybe a kind of like a mermaid in a way, or being as completely different, in a completely different form. Fairy, I saw animals, horses. I had few people who experienced themselves during QHHT sessions as energy in blackness. Or the energy in between the planets. So there's avatars, Lemuria, you name it, and it's amazing.
Atlantis.
Right. But the idea is not necessarily to seek, like when you go for QHHT, for example, it's not necessarily to seek that particular life, that's exciting life, but to resolve something that bothers you, to understand something, to grab, to evolve, to heal, and to get more information.
That's really what it's all about, to heal.
That's the whole point, right?
Yes,
To heal
that's
and
the
then
whole point.
To heal, to understand what you're here for, what you need to do, what's the purpose of your life, to learn the lessons, and to most of the time it's just to shine your light.
And at what you were saying, that some people experience just that they are energy.
Yes.
Because that's really
that's what we are.
What we are.
Yes.
We're only encapsulated here, But so what about the other types of healing that you do too, before we run out of time?
So as I mentioned, as energy healing, kind of like an intuitive level, based on Reiki, hands of light, and others, but like again, it's intuitive. And it could be done, usually a person will just slide it down and see the hands on completely or off. The self-empowering healing, as I mentioned, it's using different techniques and exercises and maybe guided meditation to help to work through something.
That reminds me, the way that you're describing that reminds me of an Inca healing. I was telling you before the show, I do North American healing because, of the Native American. And then many years ago, I have a friend of mine, she suggested, Mary, also you need to connect to the South American healing. So I also do Inca, and what you're describing is it's a combination. It's South American. It's a combination of hands-on healing, and also a combination of hypnosis. So it isn't just I call it hypnosis, we can say that, but really what it is, it's an illumination, and it's a form of shamanism. And that is a tremendous type of healing, because what happens is you're not just healing the physical, the spiritual, and also at the same time you're guiding them through a beautiful journey, beautiful, beautiful journey, connecting right to the heart. So when you're saying the self-empowering, right, that's what that reminds me of, an illumination. That's beautiful. I want to understand, though, a little bit more about the the hands of light, you said?
Right.
What is that? What's the difference between that and Reiki?
So Reiki is came from Japan.
Yes.
I'm going to do it very general.
I know.
I don't remember all the details.
We've talked
but
about Reiki so much on the show.
I think all of the energy healing is just like we talk about this. It's just connecting to the source and using that energy. With the Reiki, it's usually using the symbols that were created, which helps to enhance the healing. A particular way it's going, and a particular way of like how you start and how you finish. With the hands of light, again, it's very, very similar. But it's like starting from let's say from the feet rather than from the head. But it's just a guidance. There's
But it's still that your placement or above the body, right?
You can do it both ways, yes. So it's very similar again.
Same as Reiki.
Just a little bit different technique.
Okay. Where was that Do you know where that was originated?
I cannot recall
I'm not putting
right
you on the
now.
spot.
I'm sorry.
It's just I had never heard of that type of healing before. I've heard of magnified healing that a friend of mine, Christine, does. She also does Reiki, but I had never heard of hands of light. I just never heard of that before, and but that's.
Sorry,
I just wanted
kind of
to know the
escapes my
difference.
mind,
I just needed to understand what the difference is. That's okay. I'll look it up. And before the show, Brian and I were talking about another form of healing that we had been introduced to at an expo that we went to, that I have to tell you, I had never, there's so many different forms of healing out there now.
Yeah, I think it's in general, you can use anything. Like I do the therapeutic heart, there are movements, and it's for different people, you can use a different technique because it works the best, depending on the person, right?
Can I tell you, my Reiki students, I'm a Holy Fire Karuna Reiki master, teacher. And my students over the years, the biggest thing that I teach them now, other Reiki masters, they'll teach them, you have to put do all the steps of the hands-on healing. I teach them that, but I also teach them, which Dr. Yusui, that's the originator of the Reiki energy, okay? Dr. Yusui was more of an intuitive healer. Now, my Reiki master, William Lee Rand, I'm sure you've heard of him. No? Okay. Well, you should look him up. He's really world renowned, and he literally, I mean, even when he's done a healing for me, he just holds the top of your head. Because, and I teach my students that whatever feels intuitively proper to you, that's it. You don't have to go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4.
Right.
And literally with all healing, as you're saying, see, I'm agreeing with you 100% here with this, because whether you're calling it Reiki or you're calling it magnified healing or whatever you're calling it, okay, or hands of light healing, it's literally all the same thing. I mean, I have friends of mine, Tommy, you had met on the other show that you had done, doing next week, Thomas Knights Templar. He's a hands-on healer, and he just doesn't, it's not Reiki, it's not, it's just him. And, but it works, and that's what it is. Padre Pio had not been utilizing Reiki or whatever. So it is that connection to source, just like you're saying. Right. I'm 100% with you. We're on the same page. Okay. Any last thing you'd like to add, because we're running out of time. We only have 2 minutes now. Okay. So any last thing that you would like to add?
I think in general, I really love, and for me, the connection to heart is so important.
That's it.
And I think everything comes within.
Love.
Yes, love and your heart. And then, yes, you connect your heart and the high mind. But I think the heart is the most important thing. It's where our soul sits, and that's where you can connect. You don't even have to do anything else if you don't have to. It just look into your heart within.
Heart to heart.
Yeah.
That's it. So, if you would like any information about the show tonight or about Alena, I say your name right. I always say Alena. I always call her Alena.
It's okay. It's easy. I know it's not easy to pronounce.
If you would like any information on the show or Alena, you would like to make a connection with her, I have my email at the end of the show. Contact me, and I will pass on the message, okay? And please view our show on Spectrum. It's on Spectrum on, is it Friday nights now? Sunday nights at 7:30. Thank you. Sunday nights at 7:30, Spectrum and Fios. And of course, YouTube. All our shows are on YouTube. Brian and I are looking at next month. It'll be 6 years for Astrology, Angels, and More. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
It was a great conversation.
Help me with sending beautiful, beautiful healing blessings out to our audience, okay? Many, 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 many bright blessings.
Much love to you all.
God bless you.